Guys like Bryce Aiken, 24 years old. He scores 11 of his 13 in the second half. And Seton Hall knocks off number 4 Michigan.
Wow. What a win for Kevin Willard and his guys. Seton Hall. Goodness. Some old memories maybe wiped out.
Good evening, everybody. That was Joe Davis and Bill Rafferty on Fox. The game is over. It is a 67-65 decision that goes to the visitors, Seton Hall, tonight. I'm Dennis Fithian. I'm joined by Jim Scarcelli, the former Wolverine linebacker, here to talk a little Michigan hoops. And, Jim, this was not the result that people were thinking about earlier today with Seton Hall coming in, Michigan moving up to number 4 in the rankings. But, the Pirates were a tough out, even though, this was a close game at the half, just a 3-point game. But Michigan got up by 11 in the second half. It looked like they were going to put them away a couple times, but obviously Seton Hall had other plans, and they end up walking away with the victory and a fun ride home to Newark.
I think one of the most important things that announcer just said was the 24-year-old guard. You could see the experience. Those, they had the age, they played so many more games. That was a factor in that game. I saw them play last week, and I thought, wow, this is an athletic team, but I didn't think they shot the ball very well. Again, tonight they shot the ball very well. That team's as good as anybody we're going to play in the Big Ten. I mean, that team's as good as Illinois, Michigan State. We did not lose to a lamb chop team. That's a good team, an experienced team. They made shots, and our young guys just, they didn't step up. They haven't had as much experience as these guys. But hey, we'll get better. We'll regroup. We had 2 guys really playing offensively. We didn't get enough help for Hunter and Brooks. We just didn't help them enough.
Yeah, Eli Brooks and Hunter Dickinson leading the way for Michigan. And I think when they look at the tape here, I think if you watch the game, you're disappointed there right at the end, maybe to be able to step up, maybe hit 2 free throws, get this game to overtime. Then you're really talking about shades of the 89 championship game that went to overtime, and it was a free throw affair. You start thinking about that, but that was not to be. But I think you start looking. I started writing down the plays and with under 5 minutes to go when it was tied at 57. And I really thinking about the execution when they go back and take a look at it. Devontae Jones, I mean, he's somebody that Michigan's really going to have to depend on this year. And there were a few there. He left one out on the floor for Hunter Dickinson. He's trying to give him the ball, turning it over. I also thought, Caleb Houston under 5 minutes. He missed that jumper in the lane. Brandon Johns missed one, and Eli missed one. I mean, they had opportunities there as much as, Eli Brooks was fantastic in this game. I mean, there's 30 seconds to go, and he misses that floater. And, that's a situation where, it's a 1-point game. So, a lot of opportunities there. But I think overall your point about the young guys not being able to help out, or even the newcomers being able to help out Eli Brooks and Hunter Dickinson, who was carrying Michigan for the majority of this game.
Yeah, we made a lot of mental mistakes at the end with some of the, I don't know how else to say it, dumb fouls. Hunter had a moving screen at the very end, and Jones had a foul at the end. There was some officiating that I looked at some things down low. All the physical plays seemed to go against us. They got physical with us. They didn't call it. We got physical. Those were huge. Just a couple. It wasn't a lot, but it was a few. But we just can't make them. In our defense we were all over the place again. I don't think we're switching as good as we need to, and recovering with some of our screens, and that just comes with repetition and practice and more playing time together. But yeah, there was a lot of defensive mistakes and fouls that didn't show a lot of basketball intelligence.
Yeah, I think Juwan Howard maybe sensing that this game was maybe a little tougher than folks thought. He really shortened up his bench. He wasn't putting many subs into the first half, second half either. And the guys that he did put in the first half, when you're talking about, Diabate and on the front line, and a little bit of Terrence Williams. But for the most part, it was the starters out there that he was going to go with. And in the backcourt, it was just Kobe Buffkin, who looked pretty good. He looks like he's going to be a keeper, looks like he's going to be a good one. But I think Michigan will they'll go back, and you have that drought. Even though they had that drought where they went 0 for 11 from downtown up until like there was just over 11 minutes to go in the game. I mean, they were able to cover for that. They get the lead up to 11 points, and it looked like everything was going to be okay. And then, they just had a hard time putting this one away. You got to execute in that final 10 minutes where the game is going to be won, and Seton Hall wasn't going away that way.
Yeah, I thought Jones, he did some good things. He had a nice little floater. He did make a 3-pointer today. I think that's the first 3-pointer he's made. He had some good passes in the first half, but late some questionable decisions. Hunter showed some 10-foot shots. He had to hit 2 of them, and that's good. That when you look at the old John Beeline offense compared to what we're doing now. The old offense would have brought the big guy away from the basket. Their shot blocker was killing us in the first half. Denny, how many shots did that big guy block? And he just got us out of our rhythm offensively, and we couldn't do anything to bring him away from the basket. And that was a big factor in that first half, was that that kid was just blocking so many shots. And
Obiago, yeah, he ended up with 4 on the game. That was a factor there too. And I don't know, you just look at the box score and say, Caleb Houston, 1 of 9 and 0 for 4 from downtown. You get a little bit from him. Now, Brandon Johns, I don't know if he's playing a little bit too fast, a little bit of more court awareness. I know he's a senior, you'd like to have a little bit of that. There were a couple plays I'm sure that he'd like to have back when you think about, down the stretch. I mean, there's one where he missed it. Now, Hunter bailed him out and got the rebound and was able to get fouled, so maybe you forget about that one. But overall, when you look at it, 3 of 9 from the field there, you're going to want a little bit more. And I don't know, like you're going to have some of these losses. This was not one that you anticipated here. You're thinking, especially when you look to last year and the run they got out to before they finally lost. That's not happening. So this is a different year. And, with a collection of young players, this is not going to be the same team next month or when they get into Big Ten play. But, they got a long way to go now. And to get these guys, they don't have the luxury of bringing some of these guys along. They need Caleb Houston to step up and, be a big part of this offense. And he wasn't there tonight.
Yeah, we talked about the other night. You've got to have some 3-point shooters to stretch the defense, and it's just not there for us right now. And otherwise, every night's going to be a rock fight for us. It's just going to be rebounding and defense and 2 at a time, and it's just not what we're used to at Michigan. We've had shooters the last 10 years or so. But yeah, Brandon Johns, I'm sorry, but I just. He's a senior, and he's making mistakes like a freshman. The freshman, you kind of understand some of the nerves, some of the stress, some of the struggle shooting. But I don't know. He's been around. He should be playing with a little more confidence.
He should, and there were people that were looking at the free throw line in the first 2 games and, wanting a better result from the charity stripe, and it comes down at the end. Everything being said there, the 11-point lead evaporates down. It becomes a 1-possession game in the last 5 minutes of this one, and you got to Hunter Dickinson made his free throws down the stretch, but, when you got to have them, when you get fouled there at the end, Terrence Williams, you need to make those 2 when you're really talking about, the pressure free throws. What do you think Juwan Howard says to his guys after this one?
Oh boy, he knows he has a young team, so he can't. It's the first loss. He's not going to beat them up too much, I'm sure. He knows that they're young and really, Danny, Seton Hall came back mainly because of our defensive mistakes. We were just all over the place with some of our switching and our rotation. It just isn't tight. It's like we're not communicating. But I would imagine Juwan would be, patient with this team and and they're just going to coach him up. He's not going to get too down on him because they're so young. But I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how long he's going to go with Brandon Johns. To tell you the truth, because if a kid like Buffkin starts playing and can score, because I just don't know how long he's going to go with him. He better start playing because he's going to. I always looked at it like this: if it's even, and then you're not, if you're an older guy and you're not giving me much more than the young guy, I'm going to go with the young guy.
No, I hear you on that. The crazy part, just looking at some of the numbers here, 10 of 12 from the free throw line as a team here, that's pretty good. But ultimately, there at the end, not being able to hit the one when it counted. The thing that jumps off the page, though, is the 3-point shooting, 3 of 15, and the lack of offense from there. You build up and you're able to get that lead without too much from downtown. I mean, that's got to be the frustrating thing. And I think not that they found it easy, but I think they had that double-digit lead and they thought, okay, we've got this. But Seton Hall they just kept attacking, and they'll jack up a lot of threes. They started hitting a couple, and got some offensive rebounds in there as well at the end. And I think overall, I would talk about the main reason for this one, just the young guys. It looked like a lot of young guys and a newcomer in Devontae Jones just not mixing well. When you have to execute when it counts, Jim, down when you're talking about a one possession game, this felt like a Big Ten game, going up against Seton Hall and what they were bringing to the table. You got to execute. You got to do everything out there, whether it's blocking out, not turning the ball over, being able to hit some big shots. And, you can look at the offense and you can look at the defense here. Michigan coming up short against Seton Hall. And, the ability there, the Pirates, just to keep attacking, whether it was, Roden with a layup or those guys just, getting in there and, creating and forcing the issue where there were some fouls. And, there are a couple cheap ones, you could look at with Devontae Jones, one, he's sliding over, gets knocked back. But you know what? Most of the time those are going to get called. It's not like, you want no whistle there. It's almost like they're forcing the action a little bit. You got to stay away from them.
Yeah, at the end, I thought Hunter just got tackled by their guy, and they didn't call that. I thought that was terrible. One thing in defense of Jones, I thought that he looked tired at the end, and I don't think he came out of the game until the very end of the game. It was him and Brooks, and we rotate a third guy in. So we got to get a third guard ready to play, so those guys can get a break. But I believe in Jones. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's really good on defense. I think he's pretty. He made a couple mistakes in there, but with some fouls at the end. But the shot blocker was a big factor, and we just got to get Hunter help, man. And you try to find out in these big games who's going to step up. Well, I tell you, Juwan Howard learned more about his team tonight than he has in those other two games. So you got to play somebody good to find that out. And he knows now that he's got two guys, and he's got to find out who else can help score.
Yeah, Eli did make a layup with 2 minutes to go there, and then they went back. I mean, this is just looking at the offense that they were going with. They had it in Devontae Jones's hands with under 5 minutes. He would miss one, and that's when he hit the corner three. He came back, and I think he was trying to post it up Hunter Dickinson, but instead of having the angle there, they were too close together, and he kind of was leaving the ball on the ground. That's no good where everybody can go in there and grab it. They're not going to like that. Eli Brooks made a layup, to get Michigan the lead with 2 minutes to go, and then Caleb Houston missed one in the lane. That when you're talking about under 2 minutes in a one possession game, that's pretty glaring. Hunter made some free throws to make it. I mean, this was this comes down to the end. Eli Brooks missed that floater with 30 seconds to go, and Terrence Williams missed that free throw to be able to tie it up, or would be still talking maybe about overtime and the same thing. And it gets there. It's about, make a shot, miss a shot, there at the end. And Michigan wasn't able to make enough.
You know, Denny, I coached basketball for quite a bit, and you always work on missing free throws at the end of the game for that situation, and it's not normally something that's difficult to do. And I was a little upset with that he made that last free throw when
he threw it off the glass, huh?
Bang it off the rim. It's got to hit the rim, and that was a little disappointing that we couldn't get that. I mean, it was a terrible weekend terrible couple days for the Big Ten. Illinois gets beat, Wisconsin gets beat at home, Nebraska gets beat at home. I'll tell you, the team that I think right now is the best team to beat for Michigan wants to win a Big Ten championship is Purdue. I don't know if there's any question. I saw Purdue play now a couple times. Purdue's got everything. They got shooters, they got big men, they got depth, they got experience. Luckily we got a good probably 10, 12 games before we see them, but we got a long way to go.
Yeah, and like you said, I think that rang pretty true to me when you said Juwan Howard learned a lot about his team here, and I think a team people were telling him. I was saying, you guys, defending Big Ten champs, people are going to be coming after you. People are walking in trying to, make it feel like that's going to make their week, and if they're able to topple a top 4 team and be able to do it, so you can't afford any off nights when you're Michigan now. And I thought that was one of the things. Like it wasn't coming easy, and then all of a sudden they were there up by 10, and maybe they did think, hey, this is going to be a little bit easier than it actually was going to be. And getting down in that one possession game, you know what? Got to come up, make those big shots when it comes right down to it. They were not able to do that here tonight. All right, Jim, any final thoughts as you just take a step back here? Let me read some of the numbers to you. Maybe something will jump out. This was just a 3-point game. Michigan was down. They never got down by more than 3 in the first half, and then they led it by 3, 31-28 at the half. You could tell Juwan had shortened the bench. He brought Moussa Diabate in for Hunter Dickinson, brought Terrence Williams in for Brandon Johns, but just Kobe Buffkin, coming into the backcourt. Your point, maybe that whatever the plan was, Seton Hall's guards. I mean, Michigan was going to go with Eli Brooks and Devontae Jones, and in the second half, it really was Eli Brooks and Hunter Dickinson. They both had 10 at the half, and then it looked like those two were going to carry. They were playing off of one another. Things were looking pretty good. They did have that 0-11, or they had that drought where they weren't hitting any threes, and then they finally get one with over just 11 to go. But this thing tightened up and ends up being a one-possession game, and they just couldn't make those final shots. Eli missed that floater with 30 seconds to go, and then the final shot, Terrence Williams fouled with under a second to go, and he missed that first free throw. Banged the second one in off the glass, didn't get a chance at an offensive rebound, and it comes away, and you get the victory by Seton Hall here tonight by 2, 67-65. Any final thoughts when I run through all of that?
I tell you, I look at it like the Michigan State football game. The one good thing from that was Andrell Anthony, right? Well, when I look at this game, I think the one good thing was Buffkin. I think we have a kid. He went to the hole strong and scored at the bucket. You saw that. We need a guy that can that can help with scoring. And he's an athletic kid. And real quick story, Denny. You were talking about the 1989 Seton Hall. When I had graduated, but I used to go play at the CCRB. Michigan students know the old CCRB, the basketball rec center, and
I've been in there a few times.
Yeah, I used to go up there, and I remember playing with Glenn Rice a few times, and Sean Higgins. Oh my God, Sean Higgins was something else. That was you think you're a decent basketball player until you start playing with the Michigan basketball players. Those guys are they're playing at a whole nother level. But I remember playing with those guys, and Glenn Rice and Sean Higgins and those guys were unbelievable players. But I think Buffkin is the one positive thing for tonight, and we got nothing but youth. We're going to do nothing but get better, and we're going to improve.
Got to shoot better from downtown. 3 of 15. Ultimately, that's not what cost them. It was just a couple plays down the stretch. Devontae Jones, an interesting game. He has 11 points. He has 12 boards, 3 assists. ends up fouling out of the game and comes up with 1 steal. So it's a pretty interesting stat line. Michigan led by Hunter Dickinson's 18, and Eli Brooks had 17. But I'm with you on Bufkin with the 4 points. I think they found something there. He's pretty smooth. He's not scared of the moment. And, they mentioned it a few times, Michigan with 3 McDonald's All-Americans to go with, Diabate and Caleb Houston. Bufkin looked like that here tonight. And, they're going to have to it could be a speed of the game thing. Caleb Houston's played with a top, and so's Diabate. These guys have played against the top flight talent. This is not like wide-eyed, but there can be an adjustment to the speed of the game when they get up to college. And, it can take a couple games. I thought maybe that they had gotten used to that, but this was a physical team, and they had some upperclassmen there and more physicality and strength. That's a little bit of something that, it takes maybe a little bit of an adjustment for some of these young guys too.
Yeah, you look at Houston, though, and some of our young guys, yeah, they played in big games, but have they played in front of, 12,000 people like that? To have to make those kind of shots, and that just comes, with playing in pressure. I got to believe that he'll get better playing and shooting under pressure.
Well, and it's been a year. They didn't play in front of anybody last year, so it's been 2 years. And if you're a freshman, and then when you were a senior, maybe there is something to that. With now you've got thousands of eyeballs on you. And before, you just had some cameras and you could hear everybody talking in the the upper last row when there's just like 100 people in there. So, yeah, I don't know. Time to bounce back. Michigan will have a chance. They got a late night game. It is a Friday night at 12:30, or if you want to go to Saturday morning and say, hey, it's 12:30 a.m., whichever way you want to look at it. I look at it as late night in Vegas, Friday night, 12:30, early Saturday morning. Michigan taking on the Running Rebels, and you're talking about some of the older folks or people that can remember the Tark. That's back when Jerry Tarkanian had his Running Rebels, and they were as scary and as intimidating a bunch as you could find back in the day with Larry Johnson and Stacey Augman and Anderson Hunt out of Michigan, so out of Detroit and in the PSL going out there. That was a heck of a team. So
yeah, he was out of Detroit, Southwestern. Yeah, the Tark came all over and got guys. He was all over the country. And I don't know anything about UNLV now. It seems like they've been firing coaches every 3-4 years since Tark left. So I don't know what we're going to run into down there. But maybe getting on the road, clearing our minds, and getting away from things, and maybe we'll get things straightened out.
Yep. All right. Hey, Jim, appreciate you staying up late here tonight. Wish we had a different result talking about a victory here, but it didn't happen. Seton Hall avenges the 89. Well, they would rather have that one, but they'll take this one, 67-65. None of these guys were around for that game. Maybe the coach could remember it, although he looked like a pretty young guy as well, so maybe he doesn't. But thanks for staying up, Jim. We appreciate it, and we will talk with you again. We'll see you on Thursday. We'll talk a little football. A big football game coming up for the Wolverines, who just have 2 games to go here in the regular season.
Go Blue, Denny.
All right. Thanks, Jim. It's Jim Scarcelli joining us here. That'll do it for the broadcast. Thanks for watching.